WNBA just went absolutely crazy after Caitlin Clark announced she's leaving America. And now everyone's panicking like it's the end of the world, but let's be real, it's too late. Neither the fans nor Caitlin herself care anymore. She struggled with physical deep as faced the best level and voiced frustration with the league's officiating, recently telling reporters, quote, "I feel like I'm getting hammered and everybody is physical with me and opponents get away with things that other people don't get away with." That's what Caitlin Clark said. She put an insane hard work for this team B. The massive fan base drove marketing sales through the roof and gave the league more buzz than it's ever seen. And people comment on every video that they only tuned and because of CC. That's why the reality finally hit the WNBA higher-ups. Their empire is collapsing. What I am upset about is like your meal ticket is under constant attack. There's been dirty plays all season, but honestly Clark shouldn't even consider coming back because this league doesn't deserve her. You know why? Because look at how they treated her in just 2 playoff games. All that effort, all that sweat, and how did they repair? Let me break down exactly what happened. Those guys good the races. When really you're the races. Little the people coming up with excuses to hate Caitlin Clark and the new fan base that she brought. So the WNBA is now in full-blown panic mode because Caitlin Clark was their moneymaker and pretty much the only reason people were even tuning in. Calling her the WNBA Golden Goose is an understatement. She was practice lead their entire farm. When Clark had the court for her regular season finale against the Washington Mystics, it wasn't just some game on the schedule, it was the event of the season. The Vienna Fever, or right-wing Caitlin Clark, led the league and attenders bowled hole in on the road. The average 70,000 over 20,711 fans packed the stadium that night, setting an all-time attendance record for a single WNBA game. Nobody, especially not a rookie, had ever drawn these kinds of crowds before. I mean, she was pulling and over 15,000 fans per game in her rookie year. The most dominant team in the league, they can't draw 500,000 viewers for a playoff game. Atlanta Dreamers and the New York Liberals. Again, the Liberals, they supposedly have stars. Remember when ESPN claimed that the Liberals had the new Big Three? Dreamers Liberals 410,000 viewers. The other game was the Phoenix mass killings in the Minnesota. Length goes, but here's where things get crazier. It wasn't just the fans going nuts. Her jersey sales were like a frenzy at a Black Friday sale. We're talking top selling players in the league. Rookies, veterans, it didn't matter. Clark was outselling everybody. The second she threw on that Fever jersey, it was like instant gold. Every fan wanted a piece of history, and suddenly the WNBA wasn't just some nice sport tucked away in the corner of the sports world. It was a full-on phenomenon, all thanks to Clark. If you're not delivering the product and I'm making the revenue and you're not, getting him in the entertainment that they why, and then you're not gonna make any money and your league is going to suck. People who didn't even know what the WNBA stood for were suddenly glued to their TVs. Tickets were selling out, and as Sports show had to talk about her. Clark was like a one-woman economic boom. Sponsors, they were lining up around the block. Broadcasters were fighting over who got to air her games and prime time, and even the league's dustiest merchandise was flying off the shelves like it was going out of style. She's the Golden Goose. So now with her walking away, the WNBA is basically staring at a freefall. And why wouldn't they be? She wasn't just the face of the league, she was their entire identity. Without Clark, they're left scrambling to pick up the pieces, and the fallout is going to be brutal. The numbers don't lie. She was the driving force behind massive ticket sales and revenue spikes. From day one, everyone had an opinion about Caitlin Clark, that things had an all-time low during those 2 playoff games that completely crossed the line. Clark wasn't just facing opponents, she was getting hammered by flagrant fouls, trash talk, and downright dirty plays that no other player would have to put up with. She's just not built for the physicality of this league. Yeah, she's not enough to get away from the physicality, and if you think it was just some minor squabbles, think again. These attacks were coming from some of the league's loudest voices. This wasn't your average on-court drama, it was a full-blown campaign to tear her down, and it got ugly fast. First up, Alyssa Thomas, who pretty much threw gasoline on the fire after the Indiana Fever's nail-biting loss to the Connecticut Sun. She went straight for the jugular on September 19, 2024. In her post-game interview, she didn't talk about the game or even Clark's skill. This gives on the raunchy. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league, and she's a rookie. No, she went all in, accusing Clark and her fans of having racial biases, saying the only reason Clark was getting so much attention was because she's a white player thriving in a sport dominated by black athletes. She needs to be on a better team. Yeah, she really said that, and it set off a huge uproar. Thomas didn't hold back, calling the Clark hype nothing more than a result of her being, and I quote, a white face in a sport that's always been built on black excellence. Honestly, it's been a lot and nonsense I think in my 11-year career, and I've never experienced the racial comments from the Me and a Fever fan base are you know who he on her face on a serious matter that have been in this world, and it's unacceptable honestly. And yeah, there's no place for an in, but if you thought it stopped at trash talking, oh no, it went straight to something far nastier. Just a game later in the first round of the playoffs against the Connecticut Sun, things took a dark turn. Clark was on fire, lighting up the scoreboard with 26 points by the third quarter when decent I Carrington decided to take matters into her own hands literally. During a fast break in the fourth quarter, Carrington, who'd been breathing down Clark's neck all game, made her move. And this woman swats at the basketball and somehow the size the turner him down and all bring about and jab and right into the Catewall block. No foul call, no refs stop the game. Goal. Is this a flavor? None of that, just everybody moved, or she didn't go for the ball, she went for Clark's face, jabbing her finger right into Clark's eye. This wasn't a casual poke, it was a vicious job that left Clark temporarily blinded in one eye. The refs, they might as well have been statues. No foul, no way. Whistle, no nothing. Clark staggered off, rubbing her eye and trying to shake it off. But did she set out? No, she came right back, because that's what she does. She keeps fighting even when it feels like the league itself is looking the other way. Your biggest star, your meal ticket, the reason why you at relevancy just got stabbed, assaulted and nothing, and just when you thought it couldn't get worse, along came Kant Carter. And game to September 23, 2024 turned into an all-out assault. Carter, known for being a bit extra with her physicality, wasn't just there to play defense, she was on a mission to break Clark, and she wasn't being subtle about it. Midway through the second quarter, she threw an elbow so hard into Clark's ribs that it left her doubled over, gasping for air. What I am upset about is, like a minute your meal ticket is under constant attack. There's been dirty plays all season. Fan site commentators sighed. Everyone saw it except apparently the refs, who just acted like it was a normal play. But Carter wasn't done. Later in the fourth quarter, she practically body slammed Clark to the floor. It looked more like a linebacker tackle than a basketball play. And guess what? No foul, no call, just Clark picking herself up off the court, frustration all over her face. It was as if Carter had been handed a get-out-of-jail-free card for the entire game. It's an attack on Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's the wall face for this league because her fans are so racist. Wherever I heard this argument before. Oh, Donald for up maybe, but all the mega people there, they're terrible, they're the deplorable. And while all of this was going down on the court, Clark was getting absolutely roasted off, offered by people who should have been talking about her historic rookie season, the loudest of them all, none other than Cheryl Swoops, just a day after the Fever were bounced from the playoffs. Sweeps didn't mince words. She didn't talk about Clark's skill or her record-breaking year. She's got 14,000 volts. It is really easy to ignore, and most people don't know who she is. It is in the sports world. The only reason why people even know she is because of Caitlin Clark, and she stole. We got 14,000 followers on Twitter. She doesn't have much of a boy. No, she went for the low blow, labeling Clark as the blonde, blue-eyed American that fans suppose sadly preferred. Ignoring all of Clark's achievements, Swoops pretty much implied that the only reason Clark was getting all this attention was because of her looks, not her talent. That's Caitlin Clark, and she can't do that game. Never mind that Clark was outscoring and outplaying almost every veteran in the league. Swoops made it all about race and image, twisting Clark's success into some stereotype that had nothing to do with her game. These weren't just petty comments or cheap shots. They were meant to tear Clark down, to undermine everything she'd built and make it look like she wasn't earning her place in the league. The hits weren't just physical, they were personal. They were meant to strip away any respect or legitimacy she'd gained, to make it seem like her rise was all thanks to favoritism or bias. I'm simply saying, the issue is about marketing versus basketball, the merits of playing basketball compared to the merits of bringing marketing into the equation to influence potential decisions. So what would you do if you were in Caitlin Clark's shoes? Because let's be real, her decision to ditch the WNBA and head to Europe didn't just rattle the league, it straight up blew it to pieces. When she dropped a bombshell on September 26, 2024, barely 2 days after the Indiana Fever's playoff meltdown, it was like the entire basketball world hit pause. Clark didn't sugarcoat her reasons either. She flat out said she needed a break from the relentless mental stress she faced during her rookie year. Can you blame her? Get targeted on the court, bashed off it, and receiving zero protection from the league. It wore her down, but it wasn't just the beating she took from opponents, it was the WNBA total failure to have her back. Clark didn't just feel unprotected, she felt abandoned. There were regular season games this season where Caitlin Clark drew more than one 0.8 million viewers. However, I hope Kat Engelberg is ready for disappointment because there's a hell of a lot more of it on the way, and let's not kid ourselves, her timing was brutal for the WNBA. The league was finally seeing a surge and everything: viewership, ticket sales, revenue, as I have told you so to pay. The picture of how massive she was: Clark alone pulled in over 500,000 fans throughout her rookie season. Yep, 500,000 people showed up just to see her. The league had never seen anything like it. Look, was put this in this problem: respect. Perspective 1. I think about Caitlin Clark. The operative word it comes to my mind is gratitude for the fever, though it's even bleaker. They're staring down the barrel of irrelevance again. Without Clark, those Cielo games are going to look like high school screw. Images: the sky-high secondary market prices about nosedive. The sponsors who were finally taking interest probably already packing their bags. Even local businesses that we're seeing a boost from. The game day crowds are going to feel the hit. Cambridge Field House, which was electric every time Clark hit the floor, is going to go right back to being a